taking my mask off. Thanks for that. I'm taking my mask off just because we're far enough away from everybody who's here in the lab today. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I really appreciate everybody coming today, both in person and online. And today we're going to talk about networking, and we're particularly going to focus on networking right now because we are in Startup Month. And in San Diego, we have many networking events going on in the month of April. And particularly here at the Rec Innovation Lab, we have several networking events, pitch competitions coming up, and we just want to be ready and make sure that we are good to go. So it's important that all of us as entrepreneurs, business people, make the most of networking events. Being good at networking is a skill that you need to practice, and as you practice, you get better at it. And beyond that, it can be fun. I went to a networking event a couple of weeks ago, and it was a blast. It was right there on the cliffs of in San Diego, La Jolla, and there was paragliding. So networking can be a really fun thing to do, and it can be a great way for entrepreneurs to meet mentors, to connect with others in the community. So I didn't introduce myself. I think most of you I know. Most of the people in this workshop are students or mentors yourself, but my name is Tanya Hertz. I am the director of the Entrepreneurship Program here at San Diego Miramar College. I'm also the founder and director of the Rec Innovation Lab. So beyond that, I'm a little bit socially awkward at times, and networking didn't come easily to me. I don't naturally take to networking, and I feel like I'm a little bit of an introverted extrovert. I love talking to people, but it's not second nature. And so I wanted to help anybody else who feels the same way and let you know that you can get really good at networking. And I feel like I have a very strong network now of mentors, advisors, of people in the ecosystem, the entrepreneurship ecosystem here in San Diego that can really help my program, help the students in the program, and that I can help as well. And so just going to share some of it with some of the tips that I've learned over the years with you. So in this workshop, we're going to talk about how you can prepare for networking events. We'll talk about how you can set up your virtual business card if you would rather use that than a standard business card. Either way, it's good to have it set up. We'll talk about the importance of memorizing your one-line elevator pitch so that you can say that to everyone that you meet at every networking event, and how you can prepare your LinkedIn account so that after the networking event, well, during and after, that you can share that quickly and easily and connect with as many people as possible afterwards. So we'll also talk about some of the skills that you can use to overcome difficulties at these kind of events. Active listening is a huge part of it. We'll discuss the basics of that, and then we'll talk about what you should do after a networking event to make the most of that event. So the first thing that you should do, as in everything, is prepare. Plan, prepare, plan, prepare. When you prepare for a networking event, you mentally get in your head what it's going to be about, who you're going to be meeting there, what you're going to say. Try not to go into it cold. Practice that elevator pitch again and again before the event so that when you are there, it's second nature to you. And make sure that your LinkedIn account is ready to go, that you've posted recently, so it doesn't look like you're ghosting LinkedIn and then all of a sudden hitting it again right after the event. So when you do these things, it makes the networking event so much easier. And the first step in this process is to get your virtual business card ready. So by virtual business card, essentially what I'm talking about is your contacts on your phone. And whether you have an Apple, iOS, you can very easily, quickly share your personal information with anyone that you meet at a networking event, either by doing an airdrop, or you can send it to them, push it out to them. And if you have it already beforehand, you won't have to do that awkward, oh, can I text you? Can you text me? It's just so much easier. So there's detailed instructions right here about how you can set that up. you basically go into your contacts, update your personal information in your contacts with your company information as well. So it should have all of the same information that you would put on a business card. Make sure that your contact card has all of that, and including links to social networking, any social networking that you want to share with people. And at the event itself, if you set it up for airdrop, then you can just very quickly share with people, and all that you need to do is turn on your Wi-Fi and share. And there's specific instructions on how to do that here. And actually, I'm wondering, Crystal, would you mind sharing them the link to this PowerPoint in the chat? That way, if any of them want to actually access this, they can do that easily. When you do that, you can set the parameters and the privacy of how you want to share it, but it really helps to have it set up, ready to go, and just as you meet people, be able to share your contact card. Then they have everything that you want them to know about you there in their phone. And it's even better than a traditional business card, because the traditional business card requires that they then take your information and then upload it into their device. This is, I found, one of the best ways to do this. So instructions are there. The other thing that you want to have prepared is your elevator pitch. And all of us who are in the entrepreneurship program here at Miramar College know that we practice our elevator pitches all the time. And it's because we want to be able to answer people when they say, what do you do? Tell me about you, tell me about your business. And you want to be able to answer people very quickly, clearly, concisely, in a way that they understand. And an easy way to do this is just to write up your value proposition or one-line elevator pitch. And this is essentially explaining why you exist. You need to make sure that it contains just the basic information about your company. And you don't want to use jargon. You don't want to use a lot of technical terms. You don't want people backing away from you while they're talking to you, right? It's awkward when you're talking too much. And as always, you want to listen more than you speak at networking events. And so have a short elevator pitch. A good sort of formula that I like to use is, we help X, which is the customers, do whatever the problem it is that you're solving. And then by doing our company, what? So that's your offering, whether that's a platform or that is a product that you're selling, whatever it is. Just I would highly recommend that you write it out this way. Find people that, they don't have to be your target market, just people that are willing to give you feedback, and tell them your one-line elevator pitch. And then you can ask them, did you understand what I'm talking about? If they're honest, they'll tell you. But even better than that is ask them to explain back to you what you do. Tell them, tell me what I do, right? And that's how you're going to find, better than any other way, whether or not people actually understand your elevator pitch and whether or not it resonates with others. So keep the language simple, keep it, again, clear, concise. You also want to make sure that all of your social media accounts are up to date, that you've posted them recently, that you have social media accounts. Particularly in entrepreneurship, we use LinkedIn a lot. And so you'll want to make sure that you have your individual LinkedIn account set up, and also your LinkedIn account for your startup company. And I get this question a lot. People will say, well, I don't actually have a business yet, so should I start a LinkedIn profile when I don't have a business? Is it disingenuous? And the answer to that is no, it's not disingenuous. You absolutely should have an account for your startup, and just explain in that account that you are working on starting up this company. You don't need traction, significant traction, to have that account. And then when you're sharing your contact card with people, make sure that your LinkedIn account is in the contact card, the URL to it, so that people can easily find it. Another thing that you can do with your LinkedIn account is you can modify the URL so that it is something that is easier to understand and makes more sense. And it's simple to do on the homepage of your LinkedIn profile. And there are detailed instructions here on how you can set up your LinkedIn account. And then also all of your other social media platforms. So one thing that I like to tell my students is that when you are sharing one of your networking platforms with somebody, that may be the only way that they have any contact with you. So if you give them, if you have a LinkedIn, if you have a TikTok, Twitter, whatever it is, make sure that that can stand alone and that you're updating all of those regularly, because maybe they only go on Twitter. Maybe they're just Facebook people and they won't see your other platforms. And it's important to find out where your target market tends to be. But beyond that, just know that in business and in entrepreneurship, we use LinkedIn a lot. So have that as well. And again, there are instructions on how to set all that up here in the PowerPoint slides. And Crystal, were you able to put the link in the chat? Okay, so the link there is in the chat. So if any of you want access to this PowerPoint, you can get in here and you can see all of these. So, excuse me, some good rules of thumb when you are posting on your social media platforms. You, as a startup, you want to be posting 3 to 5 times every week. And that's a lot, but that's a pretty standard for businesses. Just to show that you're active, you're engaged, you're not out of business. And then you'll want to include in-text tags and hashtags to expand your reach so that it gets in front of the most eyeballs as possible. Now, in-text tag is different than a hashtag. By in-text tag, we mean that you actually type the @ symbol and then you select the name of the company, person, place, thing that you're tagging from one of the drop downs. And by doing that, you expand the reach, not just to the people that you're connected with, but the people that are connected with that particular platform or other person. You also want to include a hashtag. And when you are including the hashtags, most of the marketing platforms will tell you how many people follow that hashtag. And so anyone who follows that particular hashtag will have access to your post. Their post will be in front of them. And one last thing about social media marketing, likes are good, comments are better, shares are even better than that. That's all to do with the algorithms of how long it stays in front of people's eyeballs. So we're in a golden era of entrepreneurship, and a lot of it has to do with social media marketing. Take advantage of this. Now, we like to follow the 80-20 rule. So no more than 20% of your content should be about yourself exclusively or blatant self-promotion. You want to be posting all the time, but you don't want to seem too me. And so if you stick to 4 posts that are relevant to your industry, relevant to the business world, to the entrepreneurship world, but not just sales, me, look at me, right? All right. So actually, I'm going to pause right here to see if there are any questions about the first part of the presentation from the audience at home or here.
So
yeah.
That one pitch, so the one I gave it was 7 seconds. That's what it is, right?
Yeah. So Elle asked a question. She had given a very short elevator pitch. It was basically a 7-second pitch, which is perfect. That's perfect for networking events. Now, if you're in a pitch competition or something like that, you'll want to take up more of the time allotted, but yeah, but people will appreciate short pitches. They'll appreciate that. So any other questions or in the audience? And is there, John, can I ask you to give me a glass of water or something? Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Oh, thanks, Elle. So awesome. So let's talk about listening at networking events. This is again, it's a skill that you can build, and the more you practice it, the better you are at building these skills. And thank you so much. I appreciate it. Actually, yeah, the more you practice, the better you'll get at active listening and basic networking. And there are some resources here in the PowerPoint. If you click on this slide or this link down here, it will take you to a video that we made last year where we interviewed entrepreneurs, CEOs of companies, and as well as educators, and asked them what types of things that they were most important to them in business communication and what things bothered them the most. It's a really interesting little video. If you get a chance, I encourage you to watch that. All right, so active listening. So active listening is basically listening more than you speak, right? Listening to actually understand. Active listening is two-way communication. It's listening to hear and not just waiting for your turn to speak. And being good at active listening it has so many benefits. It's respectful to the person that you're speaking with, and it really helps you to get more information because you're processing that information immediately while you're there, and you're focusing on understanding right then and there. And as entrepreneurs, you're busy. I've never met an entrepreneur who isn't busy. And so you don't want to put things off that you can do now, and listening is one of those. Okay. So when you're active listening, make sure that your attention is entirely focused on the person that you're speaking with. Make a conscious effort to hear, to understand, and to learn, to retain the information that's being relayed to you. It's listening to the words, and it's also paying attention to everything else that goes along. So communication is 90% non-auditory. It's actually seeing, body language, paying attention to emotions, trying to get to the intent of what they're saying. And some people are not effective speakers. And so you really have to work hard at listening and paying attention. It is respectful, like I said, to the person that you're speaking with. And it is, it's a way that you can to learn there and then. And I'm sorry about the words on here are a little bit off, but we'll fix that afterwards. It's a way to demonstrate with more than your words that you care about the person, you care about what they say. And active listening involves as well not being defensive or not making any preconceived notion about the person or their message without actually listening to what they say. When you're better at listening, you're better at influencing, persuading, negotiating, and it cuts down on misunderstandings. So research shows that we only remember between 25 and 50% of what we hear. So you're going to forget most of what other people say to you, and you're going to miss a lot of the information that they're trying to communicate to you. And you can make that better. You can make that much better by concentrating, paying attention, and really practicing the skills. So some advice that I have to you to be better active listeners: pay attention. Don't let yourself be distracted. Don't be distracted by trying to find something on your phone, by thinking about yourself. A lot of us, we have some self-doubts, or we want to make sure that we don't sound silly when we speak. And so we think about what to say next. When you're thinking about what to say next, you're not listening to what somebody else says. So when someone's speaking to you, what I like to do, I like to make mental notes about what the person is actually saying. And when people say something to me, I try to put it into own words in my head, right? So, and beyond that, pay attention to how they're feeling, their tone, their mannerisms. Focus on what they want you to hear, and then show them that you're focused on it. So that means body language. That means eye contact. That means nods. That means just leaning forward, perhaps a little bit. And when appropriate, little comments like, yes, just sounds that they know that you are listening, that you care. Now, one thing that I've seen in all the years of teaching business communications and teaching entrepreneurship is when people are just starting to become better active listeners, they think, well, I know what I'll do. I'll make sure to reiterate everything that they said afterwards. So I'll be putting it in my own words. And then as soon as they stop talking, I'll say just what you said into my own words back to clarify. And it's okay to ask clarification questions, but it can really, I mean, it feels forced and awkward and contrived to the other person. So you can really easily get off topic and totally derail the conversation by trying to force something inauthentic. So yes, little words like that are absolutely appropriate, but you do want to avoid just that reiteration. Make sure in your body language that you can show that you're listening. And there are differences between men and women. So research has found that often men, when they're listening, they care, they'll still sit back, and where women will sit forward when they're paying attention. And so, yeah, right. So and it's funny because I see that in the room right now, but just be aware that that can happen, and that somebody sitting back does not mean that they necessarily are not listening to you. But it does indicate to others that you are listening when, even if you are sitting back, that you do nod, you look them in the eye. And folding your arms or sticking your hands in your pocket is a very quick way to seem closed off and to seem like you're distracted or not paying attention. And so if you avoid those little things, then, and maybe you're doing it because you're nervous, but that's not what it reads like to the other person. So make sure that you don't do that. So feedback is an effective way to show that you care. Again, be careful not just to reiterate what was just said, especially in the middle of the conversation, but it's absolutely appropriate to ask follow-up questions or say your own perspective. Try, though, whenever you're giving feedback, to ask yourself if you are actually listening or if you are commenting based on some preconceived notion that you had before, or you're trying to show off, or you're trying to make yourself seem smarter. People appreciate people who care about them, and people like to speak about themselves. What's nice also about active listening, when you're listening more than you speak, it takes the pressure off of you. You don't constantly need to be talking. You can ask a question and give yourself a little bit of time to compose yourself and to prepare yourself. And so it's all around an excellent skill. So it's absolutely appropriate to respond after somebody speaks. And again, that response should be based on what they say. So in your head, you're not thinking, what am I going to say when they're done? You're thinking, what are they saying? Just what are they saying? In your own words, putting it into words that you can understand. And then when it's your turn to talk, you'll be ready. You'll be ready with something to say, because you'll have understood what they've said to you, what their meaning was. And you're not going to be totally caught off guard, or what do I say? If you don't understand while they're going, ask a clarifying question, ask them to elaborate. People will appreciate that. It saves you time as well. Like I said, we're all busy as entrepreneurs. So if you learn right then and there what they're trying to get at, it's respectful, and people like to talk to people who care about what they're saying. I mean, all of us as humans like that. And so people will like you and they'll remember you. Also, we know through research that people are more likely to do business with people they like. They're more likely to buy from people that they like. And so it's important to be likable in business. It's important to be extroverted in business, and a lot of research has gone into that. And we, as some of us who may be more naturally inclined towards being somewhat introverted, can get the same benefits of being an extrovert by just pretending to be an extrovert, by displaying the behaviors of an extrovert without maybe intuitively, naturally feeling very extroverted. Sometimes it's hard to be an active listener. It can be really difficult to continually pay attention to somebody, especially in something like this, where someone's talking for a long time without any breaks for your mental well-being. And so really try different things to see what works for you. For me, like I said, the best thing that I do when I feel myself getting a little disinterested or bored, I'll force myself to focus back and say things that they're saying in my own words. It helps me understand, it helps me stay focused. So this is important because networking is important because of many reasons. To be an effective entrepreneur, you need a broad and diverse social network. And the way that you get a big social network is being an effective networker. And it also is very helpful for finding a mentor. You should use every opportunity that you can to find a mentor. And as entrepreneurs, we all should have at least one mentor at every point in our careers, and more than one is even better. So if you can get maybe one trusted confidant that you meet with once a month or a couple times a month for a long period of time, that's great. But if you have even more, then you'll have people to go to with different subject matter expertise. And so when you have a new problem or a new opportunity, you have someone that you can think through your Rolodex that you can go to give you advice. And we here at the Rec Innovation Lab, we do have a mentoring program that is part of the incubator here. And I included a link here to our manual, our protege mentor manual, and it's chock full of great information for both the mentors and the proteges to make the most of these kind of relationships. And there are a lot of benefits that go along with mentoring. A good mentor, they're not there to tell you what to do or to give you criticism or even sometimes advice. They're there, really their primary purpose is to be a sounding board for you. When you have issues or you need advice, you need someone else's perspective, they can be that person for you. And the thing with being an entrepreneur is you don't have a boss, right? You don't have anyone in the organization that you can go to. You may not have even any employees yet when you're a brand new entrepreneur. And so you need to have somebody that you trust, that you can go to, who can give you advice because they've been there, done that, and that you can model your behavior after that person. So they've made mistakes in their career, and if you are open and willing to learn, you can learn so much so quickly from their behaviors, from their advice. And it's amazing how much quicker you can learn by watching someone else do it than just by reading in a book or listening to a class, right? And so it's a great idea to find somebody that you trust and get that advice from them. And they don't have an ulterior motive. Mentors are mentors because they want to give back. If somebody wants to charge you to be their mentor, no, that's not a mentor relationship. There should be absolutely no ulterior motive. And there's so many great mentors out there through programs like our program. We also work closely with SCORE, which is the Service Corps of Retired Executives. And they are an amazing group of mentors who, that's all they do is give advice to up and coming entrepreneurs because they want to help the next generation. And one of the best parts about being a protege is that you get access to their established networks, and they can introduce you to people that they know. And so your network can grow very quickly, and they're so much more likely to know people who are further along in business development. They might be other CEOs, strategic decision makers in the organizations, and they'll trust what your mentor says or the introductions that they give because there's that commonality. And we know in business, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So you absolutely want to take advantage of their networks, and as you develop a relationship with them and they get to know you well, they're more likely to introduce you to more people. It's absolutely appropriate to ask them to as well. So here's some information from our manual, and I'll let you at your leisure, you can go through the manual and look through and see some of the things that we recommend doing both as a protege and a mentor. But there are a few things that I just want to point out to those of you who are newly trying to find a mentor or build your networks. The one thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to ask someone to be your mentor the first time you meet them. Asking someone to be your mentor when you first meet, it's like asking someone to marry you on a first date. It's weird. So you want to kind of ease into that relationship and ask them for an informational interview. Ask them if they have just a few minutes to spend with you to answer some questions. And then as the relationship evolves, then you can ask them to be your long-term mentor, or maybe it's just someone that you, an informal mentor that you reach out to every now and again when you need advice. You'll want to, it is a business relationship. So you want to keep professional in your communication, make sure that when you're sending them emails, for example, that you have email signature, that you look professional in your, all of your communications. And also, one thing that's really important is that you don't want to ask them to set up the meeting for you or you plan out all the details. Because when you do that, what you're asking is you say, will you be my secretary for me, right? These are busy, busy people. A lot of the mentors that we have here at the Rec, they're CEOs of companies. They're, I mean, they're worth thousands of dollars an hour and they're donating that time to you. So be really respectful of that, understand what they're giving to you, and so make it as easy as possible for them to help you. And don't ever miss a meeting with a mentor. It's beyond rude. And you know, if of course in life things happen, tell them as soon as you know that you're going to need to reschedule or change that meeting, but try for it not to happen. We have here at the Rec at Miramar, a platform that we use, which is called therecconnect.com. And you're welcome to go on there if you'd like to connect with some of the student founders here, some of the mentors in our network, and build relationships and expand your network that way. There's instructions on how to do that here. And if you do that, just make sure that again, all of your communication is complete, it's professional, and there's detailed instructions in here. And there's also instructions in here about how to set up your Calendly account. And for those of you who don't know, Calendly is a platform that gives a URL, a link to someone, and then they can make appointments with you through your Calendly link, which they basically has access to all of your calendars that you input into it. It's free. It's freemium. You can pay for premium services, but the free tends to be fine for what most of us do. So all of us should have a Calendly account. That way you're not doing that back and forth and back and forth. Can you meet now? Nope. Can you meet now? No. If you just send the link to the Calendly, they can look at your schedule, they can book a time, and you're good to go. So again, please take advantage of some of the resources that we have. You're more than welcome to look through our mentor manual. We worked really hard on that manual, and there's a lot of great information in there. And I strongly recommend that you take a look and see what you think. It's also, there's one other thing I wanted to say, other benefit of having a mentor or being in a dedicated program like the Rec or another incubator. We see that when startups are in an incubator, when startups have a support system, a good network of resources, they tend to be worth more money quickly and much more quickly. So this is based on this slide here is the average startup value and the amount of money that they typically raise for startups that are involved in an incubator like the one we have here or at SDSU or some of the local industry incubators. We know that even at the pre-seed level, when they're raising funds at the pre-seed level, that means you don't have a product or service, you're just in the idea development stage in the customer discovery phase. The typical business valuation at that stage is between $1 and $3 million. And this was based on over 5,000 startups that were valued in this longitudinal long-term study. At seed stage, the typical valuation is between $3 and $10 million. And you can see as you develop in the company, company growth, the value is high, right? Most of us, the goal for a lot of us is to get to IPO, and the average post-IPO market cap rate or company valuation is $515 million, which, I mean, that's huge. So it can really add value to your startup. Another thing that mentors can do is they can help you with your elevator pitches. So we talked about having that one-line elevator pitch. You should also develop a series of pitches for different situations, right? So you'll have your elevator pitch that, no props, no slides, nothing like this, that you can just say to anyone you meet. You should have a longer pitch for more formal situations. And you should then also have a pitch deck complete with slides and information about your startup, your traction, et cetera, et cetera. And again, there's some resources in here that in this slide that you can use to help you to write those as well. But your mentor is a really good sounding board to hear your elevator pitch and give you feedback. So they can also help you get ready for pitch competitions. And there are a few pitch competitions coming up right now in San Diego. Or Startup San Diego, we're in Startup Month, and Startup Week is starting next week. And this would be a great place to meet some mentors. You can come meet us. We'll be there. We're also going to be at the San Diego Innovation Day. And these are photos from last year. It was a great opportunity for people to network, to connect with one another. And you're invited to attend with us. If you'd like, we have information here in just a little bit about how you can do that. For my students, I have free tickets for you, and the link to the free tickets, again, I'll show you in just a bit here. But on April 28th is the Innovation Day at Petco Park. And all of the rec students, they have tickets, booths, they have food and drink tickets, and we got some advertising out of that as well. So one other thing I just wanted to touch on quickly, I know we're almost out of time, is that a formal program is great for mentoring. You don't have to be in a formal program to have access to mentors or to get mentors. But if you get a chance to go through a program that does have something like that, take advantage of it. We have been virtual since we started in 2019, but we're just now transitioning to being in person again. And so we were always doing these like virtual lab hours. Just to let everybody know, we will be, as we're transitioning to in person, we'll be entirely in person very, very soon here. We're in construction on a permanent lab space on our campus. We're still going to have our mentor hours on Wednesdays. So if you're interested in finding a mentor or being a mentor, definitely reach out to us, and I can absolutely put you in contact with people and get you started in the program. So last thing we're going to talk about is follow-up. Follow-up is critical. So you went to these, you prepared for the events, you got all of your business cards ready, your elevator pitch was beautiful, your LinkedIn and all of your other social media platforms were set up and good to go. After the event, you need to make sure that you've connected with everyone that you meet as soon as possible. Do it while you are fresh in their heads, while they remember who you are. The day of or the day after is absolutely best. Set up meetings, add the contacts to your social media. If you have a newsletter, ask them if you can add them to the newsletter. If they're okay with it, send them your newsletter. They shared contact information with you because they want to see what you're doing. They want to hear what's happening. The worst thing that you can do is say, oh, great to meet you. I'll send you my information, or I will contact you. And then crickets. That's awful. Then they have all they need to know about you. You don't have follow through. You're not conscientious. And they can make a very negative impression about you, maybe just because you were busy or you weren't thinking, oh, I have to do this right away. Put it in your calendar to do it right away. Put it in your calendar the 2 days after the events to follow up with the people that you made, right? So here are some links for some of the upcoming networking events that we have going on at the rec. And here in San Diego, everyone is welcome to attend either one of these. You're welcome to use our code, the Miramar College code for both Convergence, and then there's a discounted code for Innovation Day. I think they still have a few tickets left. The links are here for both. Convergence is April 13th and 14th. Innovation Day at Petco Park is April 28th. And take advantage of these and other networking events here in the area, because you can get a lot of good from them. So that's that. For the slides, I would love to answer any questions for anyone who has them. So do we have any questions in the chat and yeah, go ahead, Elle.
What if you tell a mentor you don't hit it off? How do you politely in that relationship?
So her question was, what if you met somebody and did you already ask them to be your mentor?
No.
Okay, so if you do have somebody that you've met and you're thinking about being in a mentoring relationship with them, and then you realize, I don't like this person, they're not right for me, always never burn your bridges, always be polite, and just let it, maybe, if you don't water it, it won't grow. And so yeah, just kind of let that relationship go away naturally, natural attrition, I would say. But yeah, but never burn your bridges in business. Just remember, everybody knows each other in San Diego entrepreneurship. So yeah, any other questions from online, John? Or
we have nothing in chat right now.
okay, cool. Anybody at home have any questions?
Yes, ma'am. Can I ask you, please?
Please.
Yeah. Does anybody who wants to start a business needs a mentor with this work?
So your question was, does anybody who wants to start a business need a mentor? I would say yes. I mean, there's no law that says you have to have a mentor, but you want advisors, and you want advisors that you can trust. A mentor is a good way to get a trusted advisor. So I would say, yes, I would recommend it for anybody.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Any other questions? Okay, well then, looks like we're done about 5 minutes early. I'm going to give you guys your 5 minutes of your Friday back. So have a wonderful afternoon, evening, and thank you all for coming. Oh, before I'm done, was there some housekeeping though, right? There was a couple of things we wanted them to do. Links in the chat. Okay, there's a couple links in the chat. If you can, go ahead and fill out the questionnaire that Crystal sent. We'd love it, because then it'll help us to give better workshops all the time. All right, everybody, have a wonderful afternoon. Take care. Bye. All right. Perfect.